Listening to the Strangeology Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Foran, and this is your place to explore the weird, strange, and unexplained. From cryptids and creatures, the paranormal, aliens and UFOs, forbidden knowledge, ancient mysteries, conspiracies, and more. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Thanks for hanging out today. Coming up on this episode is a conversation with Les Velez of OPUS, the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support. He'll be guiding us through the world of alien abductions, along with support networks out there for experiencers, along with the global implications of this disturbing phenomena and what it means for the future of humanity. But before we get into it, I hope you enjoyed my previous spooky season special episode, which was all about the Lizzie Borden murders. It was definitely interesting doing my first kind of true crime themed episode. So I hope you liked it. I'll probably do more in the future, and I definitely need to add some more paranormal type stories to the show. So stay tuned for more of that. And if you haven't yet, make sure to take a minute to subscribe to the show wherever you're listening to or streaming, and make sure to set your device to auto download so you never miss a new episode. One of the biggest ways to help grow the show two is to share it around with your social networks. And you can also leave a 5-star review if you love what you hear. Helps out the show a lot, and I definitely appreciate it. Apple Podcasts has a review system in place for that. So does Good Pods. And I believe Spotify has a review section as well. They have a Q&A type of thing where people can leave comments on episodes, and I've seen some pretty nice feedback on there, so thank you for that. And don't forget to give me a follow over on my social media accounts as well. You can find me on Instagram, which is kind of my main base of operations for social media, but I'm also on Facebook, TikTok, X, Threads, YouTube, and I even have a website which has a blog over at Strangeology.com. I've been trying to update that a little bit more as of recent, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. I'm everywhere. So if you enjoy what I do and want to find out what I'm up to on a regular basis, or want to see more content from me in blog form or short video form, that's where you can find it. Fair warning though, sometimes my video posts can get a little wild in the comment section, but it's all fun. But anyway, I hope everyone out there is doing okay in this wild world that we live in. The cold is starting to set in, winter is coming, and now it gets dark at 5 o'clock. So I've got all the yard work done that needed to be done for the season, closing things down, putting furniture away, doing the final mow of the lawn for the season, and getting all that equipment packed away while I get the snowblower fired up, because we're expecting snow in the forecast this week in New England. I don't think it's going to be a lot of snow, but it's coming. But it's all good. And hey, the Strangeology Podcast is fast approaching its 3rd birthday, which was, I believe, late December 2020 is when I officially launched the podcast. Strangeology itself celebrated 3 years back in April, which started off as just kind of an Instagram blog type of thing. So perhaps I'll have to plan out a special episode / end of the year, end of the season spectacular for that. So stay tuned. All right, that's enough of that. Let's get on with the show. Again, today's guest is Les Velez, the director of OPUS. And there are definitely some interesting revelations about the alien abduction phenomena that I was unfamiliar with going into this episode. So grab a snack, grab a beverage. This is kind of a big episode, and strap yourselves in for a wild ride. Let's go. All right, folks, welcome back. Joining me for the show today is Les Velez. Les is a graduate from University of Vermont and holds a bachelor's degree in business administration. Les served in the U.S. Army as a field artillery officer in 1970 and later became the vice president of Lascum Engineering based in Silicon Valley. And then in 1991, Les joined MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, and worked as a field investigator, as well as a training coordinator and being the assistant state director of MUFON in Northern California. He was also the chairman of the Abduction Experiencer Research Committee and team leader of the Abduction Response Team. Lots of really interesting stuff we're going to get into. And during his time there, he also facilitated an abduction support group. And then in 1994, he co-founded OPUS, the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support. So welcome to the show today, Les. Glad to have you on. How are you doing?
Great. How are you? Thank you for having me today. I look forward to this.
Yeah, this is going to be great. I'm doing well. We got lots going on, and this is going to be real fun. So I have to ask before we get into all of the alien stuff. I'm a Vermonter. How did you like going to UVM and your time spent here?
It was great. Yeah, I was raised in Connecticut and got accepted at UVM, and I played soccer while I was there. Member of a fraternity, and I had a good time. Matter of fact, it was so good, I almost flunked out at one point.
There you go.
But I righted the ship and did okay. And anyway, life has been good since then, I must admit.
Great. There you go. So can you talk a little bit about your background and interest in the phenomena of UFOs, UAPs? Was there a specific moment that got you interested in this?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jeff. The incident happened when I was 11 years old. This is when I was living in Connecticut. It was a late October time frame. It was getting to be dusk, and I was coming back in from feeding my dog, and I noticed this object that was silently moving over this tree line, and it was emanating this glow, and it was oval in shape, and it just silently kept moving along, and it scared the hell out of me. And I ran in the house and tried to get my father to come out, and by the time he did, I eventually did convince him to come out. Nothing was there; it was gone already. And so he said, "Oh, it's probably just a beacon of light reflecting off a cloud or something, And I didn't buy that. And I went to the library soon thereafter and picked up a couple of books on UFOs. And back in those days, this is the late 50s, George Adamski was like the guy with his incredible photographs of these Venusian craft, as he said that they were related to these Venusian race. And anyway, I really got into it for a while. And then, I became an adolescent and girls became a little bit more interesting to me than UFOs. And I kind of forgot about it. And, went off to UVM and went through the ROTC program and came out a second lieutenant and went into the field artillery branch and eventually got married and had a couple of kids. And in 1985, we moved to California from Connecticut. And this is when I bought into this Lascum Engineering Company. And I picked up the San Jose Mercury News, as it was called back in those days. Now it's just called the Mercury News. There was an article about Stanton Freeman, this nuclear physicist that was going to come to San Jose City College to talk about UFOs and the government cover-up. Well, it was like somebody threw a switch, and it was like, oh my goodness, I got to go see this guy. And I did, and I expected to see a handful of people at this presentation, but the auditorium was packed. There must have been like 300 people there to listen to him. And on my way out, and he did a great presentation. Of course, he always was able to do that. Too bad he passed away here recently.
Yes.
And so MUFON had a table in the foyer, and they have a monthly journal. So I decided, okay, I'm going to get this journal and start reading about these cases. Well, after a while, that wasn't enough for me. I decided that I got to get more involved. And so they have a field investigator training course. And so I took it and I passed. And soon thereafter, I was investigating cases along with a more senior investigator, which is the way they like to do that, to team you up with a more seasoned investigator. Well, as it turned out, the cases that we got involved with were almost without exception were not only just sightings that people were talking about, they were talking about the fact that they had contact with non-human intelligences. And I'm going, holy crap. I was basically a nuts and bolts kind of a guy. I was more interested in just understanding these craft, how they operate and things of that nature. And so the first person that mentioned that to me, I don't know, it's like one of those things. But then another person, and then another person, and then another person. Almost without exception, the case that I got involved with, all these people talked about the fact that they had contact with non-human intelligence. So at that point, my window of believability started to widen quite substantially. And one day, one of the people that I was investigating said, do you know of other people having experiences like this? And I said, yes, I do. And so next thing I know, I'm facilitating a support group in my office in San Jose. And that's when things really got interesting, because these were people were telling me their stories, their experiences. And it was just mind-boggling, what they were telling me. And so I got a call from the international director of MUFON one day and said that this reporter from the Monterey Coast Weekly paper was looking to talk to somebody about UFOs, and he wanted to do a story on it. And so he asked me if they could give my contact information to him, and I said, sure, go ahead. So I was written up in this article, and you should have seen the front cover of this weekly paper. My head was on it, about almost the size of the paper. Like huge. And I'm looking up in the sky, and UFO investigator Les Velez, And anyway, he did a good job on the article, which I was really happy about. Usually, it's a lot of tongue in cheek, but he was really, nice, did a good job of just telling the story as it is. And shortly thereafter, I got a call from a woman down in Carmel, California, that wanted to understand what was going on with her brain when she was in contact with these off-earthly entities. And so it was like, I was thinking to myself, how can I possibly help somebody like this? So I didn't think too much of it at the time. And then she said she was working with an emergency room doctor down in Carmel. And that really triggered my interest, because I had a doctor friend, Dr. Eugene Lipson, that was interested in meeting other doctors that were interested in the phenomena. So I called him up and I said, hey, why don't we go down there, see this lady, and we can meet this other doctor, and let's dig into this a little bit. So we did. We went down on a Saturday afternoon, and as we walked into her house, there was a picture on the wall. And she's standing on the back of a vessel, a fairly large one, in beautiful crystal clear blue water, And so I asked her, I said, so what's this all about? And she says, well, I was helping these treasure hunters. And I said, really? I said, well, how were you helping these treasure hunters? She says, well, I was in contact with the captain of the galleon that had gone down.
Huh.
And that started the afternoon off. And she subsequently told us things about us, that there was no possible way that she could know. And what we found out was that after a near-death experience, she became very psychic and was able to be in contact with various entities. And she wrote a number of manuscripts that outlined these conversations that she had with them. And one of them was Jesus, of all people. So, our window of believability is starting to stretch more and more. And so we came away that afternoon and we said, how can we possibly help people like that? And that's when Opus was had. And Eugene and I are basically the co-founders. And unfortunately, Eugene passed away a couple of years ago. And so I'm the last of the co-founders, if you will. It's been quite a journey. It's been quite a journey. On our basic mission is to help people having paranormal experiences, and we're not looking only at the abduction phenomena. We can look at other things, but what we have is affiliations with other organizations, like groups that are involved with poltergeist activity, groups that are involved with spiritual awakening or Kundalini awakening. And because the paranormal is vast, there's so many aspects to it.
Yes, it is.
I believe they're all connected in some way that we truly just still don't understand. If we ever will understand, that's another question.
Right.
So that's kind of how we got started. And as far as what we do for people when they do contact us, they can go to our website, opusnetwork.org, which is down here somewhere on my screen or behind my head.
Yes. We'll make sure to link all that in the show notes when this goes live, for sure.
We have a couple of buttons on there. One is a support button where people are looking for help can hit that button. And then we just ask a few questions. And then we turn it over to one of our triage people. We have a group called the EST within our organization, the Experiencer Support Team. And these are people that are very knowledgeable about many of the aspects of the paranormal, especially with regard to the contact with non-human intelligence part. Then we also have a contact button, which most of the people that go through there are therapists, mental health practitioners, and hypnotherapists that are looking to join our referral network. And that's the second thing that we have. We have a referral network of mental health practitioners and hypnotherapists that can assist these people if that's what they're looking for. And then, of course, the thing that I think has proved to be the most helpful for people is our confidential online support group, which right now we have almost 400 people from around the world, literally around the world, that are talking 24/7 about their experiences, asking questions. And the fact that people understand that they're not alone, that other people are having very similar types of things going on, is so helpful. It's so, it gives them the confidence to come forward and to talk about their experiences, which is really, really something that helps a person to integrate these types of things, because many people are not having good experiences, and so they need help, and so that's what we're here for. And we're totally neutral. Some people come in and say, well, it's all bad, and some people say it's all good. Well, it's a combination of things, just like we have here on this planet. We have good people and we have bad people. And I think the same thing is going on in these other realms, is that if you're unlucky that you run into a group that is pretty negative, then those are the kind of people that we try to help and trying to stop those types of things from going on. But then you have the other side of the coin with people that are having positive experience. I mean, people coming away being healed if they have a malady, or coming away with the ability to heal people. I know I gave a talk at an experiencer group at the MUFON Symposium a couple of years ago in Las Vegas, and Robert Salas and his wife. Robert Salas is, if you're familiar with him, he was the captain at the Maelstrom Air Force Base when this UFO came over and shut everything down, all the missiles.
Right.
And he came up to me afterwards with his wife and said, "Can we talk to you?" And I said, "Sure, let's go into the exhibitor room," because I had a table there. I was talking my book, The Unknown Other and the Existential Proposition of Alien Contact. So we sat there and talked, and I found out that both of them had been abducted at the same time in their home.
Wow.
And she, when she came back, was able to heal people. She had this ability to heal, which she never had before. And so these are some of the positive aspects of this contact. People being cured of ailments, or people coming away with the ability to heal. And also the ability, psychic abilities are very prevalent, and telepathic capabilities that are seem to come about after one of these experiences. So there's so much to this that, once you go down this rabbit hole, there's so many different ways you can go.
There really is. Now, you mentioned trying to help people in Opus who may have been dealing with negative entities, whether they're paranormal, interdimensional, extraterrestrial. What are some of the protocols that you go through to help these people with their negative experiences?
Yeah, well, first of all, they contact us, and this is how it usually goes down. And they 9 times out of 10, they want to be part of the support group, to be able to tell their story and to hear other stories that are very similar to what's going on. And the people in the group, the support group, are amazing. That they'll step right up and start to recommend things that they had done, let's say, to stop what it is. There's a couple of books out there, one by Kathleen Martin, Extraterrestrial Contact, which gives a lot of really useful information on how to stop these kind of things. Also, the late Ann Druffel, How to Protect Yourself Against Alien Abduction, is another book where she outlines, I believe it's 9 different ways that people had contacted her, those people having negative experience, what they did to stop it. And so there are certain modalities that people are utilizing. And so we recommend those books. And then, of course, the bottom line is the next step is if they're looking for a mental health practitioner that is familiar with the topic. And we do a major vetting job when we bring on or bring people into the referral network. It's quite extensive. Matter of fact, we've had some comments. This is so long. Well, we want to make sure that these people are familiar with the topic, that they have a philosophy of neutrality, to listen to these people, give them the kind of support that they need when they're having these kind of things going on in their lives, and they have their proper credentials. And we're always looking for more mental health practitioners, licensed mental health practitioners, and also certified hypnotherapists. So if any of your listeners are out there are in that category, we'd love to hear from you if you have that kind of experience. And I think what's going to happen with all the things all these whistleblowers that are coming out now in this congressional hearing that's going on Wednesday, that there's going to be people coming out of the woodwork, that there's confirmation now that these things are real. It's real. And so whatever's been happening to them is also real. And so it's not going to sit well with a lot of people, I think, because a lot of them try to, push it down out of their conscious mind and don't think about it anymore. But now this is going to make it come to the surface. And there's going to be a lot more people showing up. I mean, the Roper organization back in 92, came out with this poll that said 1 in 50 or 6 million people at that time who were having experiences.
That many. Wow.
That many. And that move forward in time now, the population has grown significantly. So how many more people are having experiences? And this was only for the US that they did that survey. This is a worldwide phenomenon. And I'm going to throw a theory out at you, which is probably some of your listeners are going to go, he must be crazy. But
hopefully not.
But I firmly believe that we've all had an experience, whether we consciously remember it or not. And I'll give you a couple of things that happened to me. one of the support group meetings that a person said to me, "Oh, I've seen you before." And I said, "Where? At a UFO conference or whatever?" And he said, "No, I saw you on board the craft." I said, "Really? Oh, that's interesting." And I kind of blew it off. It was probably a year and a half, 2 years later, a totally different person in the group said to me the same thing. "I've seen you before." I said the same thing. "Where? No. You were sitting on this bench naked on board the craft and you were freaking out and they told me to go over to you to calm you down." And so at that point, I decided, I think I'm going to go get regressed and I'm going to see if I can find something out. Well, I had 3 separate regressions. And as it turned out, I had multiple past lives, but I did not bring up anything regarding being abducted.
Interesting.
It was like a little time after that a person said to me, "Well, maybe these people are seeing something in a past life that you had, that you might have been abducted." And that's a possibility because, there's time suppression. There's missing time. They bring you back before they take you. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff that they can manipulate time and space. And so why couldn't they also suppress memories of those types of activities? And I think this is part of the universal process that's going on. Certainly, reincarnation seems to be one. And many of the experiencers have talked about the fact that these non-human intelligences talk about the fact that reincarnation is a mechanism of the universe. This is how things operate. And so, I have to scratch my head, and I've done too much of that because I don't have much hair left. But the fact is that these types of things are entirely possible based on the fact that the way some of these craft operate, that it seems like they can manipulate time and space and gravity and all of this stuff. So we're dealing with technology that looks like magic to us.
Yes.
As Clark talks about.
Yeah. It's definitely there's a lot of pretty interesting revelations and things that are going to be happening in the next few days as this episode's being recorded. Definitely going to be trying to check out that committee hearing for sure. To see what's going on with David Grush and all of that. Yeah.
Graves and Favor, I guess, are the other 2 that are going to be only those 3 that I'm aware of right now, unless they bring in some surprise guests, if you will.
Right.
But it's going to be interesting, and hopefully it's going to be a lot better than that last one that they did when our federal government people didn't know their ass from their elbow.
Right. Yep. Yeah. And it just, it goes to show too with people who just don't want to acknowledge this stuff because it breaks their worldview. It breaks their reality. It's a lot to digest to realize that there is something else going on here. That's
a good point, Jeffrey. There's a conscious dissonance going on that how people deal with this. They get up in the morning, they have breakfast, they go to work, they come home at night, they have dinner, they watch a little TV, they go to bed, they get up the next morning, do the same routine over and over and over and over again. But, and you can't blame them. I mean, they got to put food on a table, they got to take care of their families and things like that. So this topic is way beyond, their thought process. And, but there are people like yourself. And by the way, thank you for what you do, because it's very important that, we get the word out. And so bringing on people like myself and others that you've already put on your show, it's really important. You're opening it up to an audience it's important that they hear these kind of things and understand that, there is a different reality. We're dealing with one reality, but then could be multiple realities.
Yes. Yep. It's just a big old onion, multi-layered onion here.
Yes, that's a good way to look at it. Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah. Now you're also, you've been a chairman of this other group, the AERC. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Sure. Yeah, this goes back a number of years. It goes back to like around 2007, 8 time frame. I had contacted the international director of MUFON, and I this was James Carrion at the time, and I said, "Hey, James, I think you guys are missing the boat here on not working with these people that are calling into MUFON and looking for help with their contact experience." And so he agreed, and but they didn't have a formal process. So what happened was that they forwarded me all the calls that came in to MUFON to me to Opus, and so I was taking lots and lots of calls. These people telling their stories, and so I started to help them as best I could. Again, with the support group and referrals to hypnotherapists and mental health practitioners. We didn't have the EST set up at that point. One of the things once that happened, they came back to me and said, "Well, look, we'd like you to do a research project on these experiencers." And so I put a team together, and I got a couple of psychologists to work with me. We took 71 people that felt that they had contact with non-human intelligences and 51 people as a control group. And we set up the project, and we called it the Omega-3 study. And let me read you some of the conclusions of the study that we came up with.
Oh, yes, I'd love to hear them.
This is how the AERC, developed utilizing 9 different instruments, psychological instruments. So there we go. In general, abductees / experiencers profile differently than do their comparison counterparts on a number of general psychological and specific neurological variables. Yet there are remarkable similarities between the experiential group and the comparison group. It should be noted that in no case did experience or comparison group participants show any signs of mental illness or personality disorder. So they did not have a psychopathology, number one. None of the groups did. Fantasy proneness, which a lot of debunkers talk about, is a factor, does not appear to play a differentiating role between the experiential and the control groups. However, sensitivity to alternative realities and early and recurrent paranormal or psi experiences seem to play a role in the abduction experience. This next one is very interesting. Childhood conflict, psychosocial tension and abuse, and trauma more than likely facilitated dissociative coping style in later life. And again, not in a psychopathological way, but in a way of dealing with the experience. Okay. Let's see, where am I here? Okay. How much a part dissociation plays in the abduction experience remains an open question. Both experience with and interest in the abduction phenomena have impact on how one's body is perceived to function, how one views the world and one's purpose in it, and how one defines or redefines one's faith, tradition, and beliefs. In essence, both experience with and interest in contact seem to change one's sense of self and one's worldview. And the other part of this is that so many of these contactees, experiencers, come away with these incredibly positive thoughts that these aliens have given them. That one, we need to be better stewards of the planet. We are screwing it up by the numbers, and that we need to be better to one another. We need to be more loving. I mean, these are all wonderful things, and I believe at some point we will reach critical mass after we've literally all of us have been abducted and had an experience, that this mindset will be there, and then perhaps we will not have wars, and we'll do the right thing when it comes to working with one another and doing the right thing. So that was very interesting to us. Abductees, experiencers believe that there is a sentient, purposive alien intelligence at play in their lives and at work in the world. What the intelligence's goals are seem to be more beneficent than malevolent, more benign than malignant. This, though, remains an open question. And there's been a number of studies, other studies that have been done where they say the number of people that have had positive experiences outweigh the number of people that have had negative experiences. They throw around like 70 to 80% are positive, and then the rest is a negative situation. And it really depends. Of course, the people that show up on our site, most of them have not had positive experiences because they're looking for help. Those that have had more positive experiences don't really need the help unless they want to share stories. And that also comes into play. We do have people that are having positive experiences in the support group as well. The next thing that we found, which again, this is a whole other area of interest, is the brain generally and the temporal lobes and the limbic system more particularly play a mediating role in the anomalous experiences such as abduction. This in no way implies that the abductions are all or only in the abductees' heads. Rather, it points to the likelihood of the temporal lobe lability, in other words, their rapid changeability, heightened reactivity, is a preset or a precursor to extraordinary experiences. So, Gary Nolan from Stanford University has done some interesting studies on these experiencers where they did MRIs on their brains, and they found that in the area between the caudate and putamen area, that there was a lot more connections in people that had psychic abilities, telepathic capabilities, as opposed to other people where they have less and they don't have that capability. So that's an interesting factor. It's almost like an evolutionary process is going, in that eventually these people will connect with other people that are having that same kind of thing going on in their brains, because they can communicate telepathically and are psychic. And that the rest of us that don't have that capability will die off, and it just won't be part of the gene pool anymore. And so we're raising to a whole nother level. And this is what people talk about, is raising our frequency,
right,
and things of that nature. So anyway, those are the kind of the main conclusions. But also we have the full report, 28-page report on the omega-3 study. And we just finished the first phase of the omega-4 study, which the first phase was we went out to therapists and to understand what kind of modalities they're utilizing to help their client base. And we found out some interesting things there as well. One was the fact that most of the people are dealing with grays, okay? The second thing that they're dealing with are orbs. The third thing they're dealing with is interdimensional beings. And the fourth one is poltergeist activity, ghosts. So it's interesting to see that those are the majority types of cases that they're dealing with. And then as far as what modalities they're utilizing, EMDR is one that seems to be very prevalent as far as the hypnosis area. And the other one is QHHT, which is another modality that a number of therapists, I think Dolores Cannon was the one that actually came up with the process, the QHHT process, to help these people.
Now, what does that entail, if I can interrupt for just a second, for my listeners who might not know?
I can tell you, I am not a hypnotherapist, so I'm going to have to refer to that question. But you can Google it, as they say.
Gotcha.
And it's a way of working with the client, the experiencer, to help them. The EMDR has things to do with eye movement. And QHHD, I'm not familiar with that process, but we found that the majority of the hypnotherapists are either utilizing one or the other. And so that's interesting because there's many other modalities in the hypnosis world that could be used, but these seem to be the prevalent ones.
Gotcha. Now, I'm wondering, a lot of people who are experiencers, they may have a knowing that something happened, but a lot of the times people may not necessarily remember until some event triggers it. Like there's some kind of screen memory implanted in their mind. They might see owls instead of the grays. Are there some signs that people could be on the lookout for if they might suspect that they are dealing with this phenomenon?
Yeah, well, one of the things that triggered a lot of people was Whitley Strieber's book Communion. They walk into a bookstore or something, and this thing is on the shelf, and it triggered them. All of a sudden, all these memories started to flood back. So you have many things like that. Let me see if some of the physical things that people talk about. I mean, lost or missing compressed time. That is one of the indicators that seems to come up often, very often. Like, one of the stories that is in my book is a couple. They're amateur pilots, and they were picnicking in a park north of Santa Cruz, California, and they noticed this light over the ocean, and this light got bigger and bigger until literally it was over their head, and it was a triangular craft about the size of a small Learjet, not making any sound whatsoever, and just kind of went into this canyon behind where they were standing. And they noticed another light over the ocean, and this thing got bigger and bigger. Again, it was over their head. Again, a triangular craft about the size of a Learjet. The first one, they felt they were looking at it. The second one, they felt it was looking at them, and they became somewhat frightened at that point. And they noticed 5 more lights over the ocean. But at that point, they decided to get the hell out of there. And they felt like they were on cruise control. They were almost like they were floating out of there. And this area is hilly. It's dense vegetation. It's dark during the day even. And so this is already at dusk, and it's getting to be late. And they were able to get down to their car, and that's the last thing they remember until 3 hours later. They ended up in a restaurant, which is only like 10 minutes away from where they were. And so they eventually came to one of our support group meetings, and they had developed a rash after this experience. And they took a picture of it, and they went to a doctor, and the doctor examined them. The doctor says, well, it's not poison oak or poison ivy, which is prevalent in that area. And then they went to her doctor. I guess it was his doctor first. And then her doctor said, well, it might be some, reaction to something you ate, or, some allergic reaction of some sort, but I'm not sure what it is. So anyway, they took a picture of it, as I said, and they brought it to the support group meeting. And they passed it around, and almost without an exception, the members of the meeting said that they had a similar rash at one time after an experience. And so one of the people in the group said, well, I think I know what it's from. And we said, okay, well, what do you think? He says, well, it's a reaction to the fluid that they dip you in to sanitize you when they bring you on board the craft. So this case happened about 30 years ago. I got a call from them a couple of months ago. And the woman was absolutely positive now, because a remembrance had come back to her that she was dipped in some kind of fluid when she was brought on board the craft. So,
Super interesting.
Yeah. Oh, other things that people, audible tones before contact is kind of common. Sudden abnormal silence before feeling a presence. Nosebleeds is another one. Unusual marks on the body, puncture marks, triangular marks, dots, surgery marks that heal abnormally fast, scoop marks, implants. Oh my goodness. Implants.
Yes.
That is a heck of a topic.
Yes, I wanted to talk about that, actually.
Yeah.
I remember several years ago, Jeremy Corbell's film Patient 17 came out, and he worked with Roger Lear about all of his, dealings with people. Like, what are these things? Do you have any idea? Is there any updates?
Well, of course, Dr. Lear, again, he's not with us any longer, although he may be somewhere, because this energy never dissipates.
Yep.
But he wrote a book, Alien in the Scalpel, and here's some of the findings that were verified by laboratories, prestigious laboratories, and so he did a lot of good work, actually. So there's no inflammatory rejection reaction by the body to these foreign objects. What is you get a splinter in your finger, right away it gets red, it gets sore. I mean, that something is going on. There's no visible portal of entry in a lot of cases. Collections of specialized nerve endings surrounding the object. Okay. And again, a splinter, you're not going to have any nerve endings, growing out of there. An outer coating of ceramic biological material. So it's a combination of things. A metallic phase where inorganic metal becomes biological tissue. The emissions of this one is a real showstopper. The emission of radio waves, which are deep space frequencies in the FM band. So who is listening? And is this a transmitting something like I've heard theories about the fact, it's monitoring pollution levels in the body. For whose sake is that? Okay. Is this a tracking device so that whoever they are, can track you no matter where you are? Electromagnetic fields in excess of 10 milligauss. Composition of meteoric iron 66. Rare earth metals such as U-236, a single isotope of uranium existing by itself, as well as elements such as iridium, which is very rare and hard to find in the Earth's crust. Non-terrestrial isotopic ratios indicating the involved elements did not come from Earth. And they say there's no evidence, folks. Come on.
Yeah, that's
great. The existence of carbon nanotubes, carbon nanostrands, and carbon nanofibers. These factors were considered non-existent in nature, and many scientists made definitive statements that they could not be made in the laboratory, although that has been done. They have been able to produce these things. But the oldest of these specimens was taken from a surgical patient which had been in his body for over 46 years, which is way before we had the capability to do these kind of things. So that kind of debunks that thing. Gold spheres, which are of unknown function. Metallic caverns that are no larger than the diameter of one atom. Resistance to ordinary cutting techniques, such as metallic sawing, severing with a cutting instrument. One of the specimens had to be cut with a laser. It's just phenomenal how all this is happening. That he was able to have 17 patients that he looked at, and they did a tremendous analysis, which those are some super interesting facts that this is going on. And, a lot of times people don't know that they have an implant until they happen to have an x-ray for something else, and it shows up.
Right.
In Whitley Strieber's case, he actually felt it behind his ear, and he still has that there. behind his ear. He never removed it. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we counsel people about, if they're thinking about taking it out, unless it's bothering you, just forget it, leave it alone. Because if you do take it out, they'll put it back in a place where you definitely can't get to it.
Wow. I've never, that totally makes sense. I haven't heard of that before, but you know, if they're tracking you, they can find you anywhere in the world. They can warp space and time. Have you talked with anyone that's had that happen?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Terry Lovelace. I don't know if I think you might have had him on your show at one time or another.
I haven't. I know the name, but probably we'll have to have him on at some point.
Yeah. He had an experience when he was in the Air Force with a buddy of his, and he had X-rays taken of these implants, and he decided he was going to have them removed. And the next day that he had that thought, when he was scheduled to go to have them removed, they did another X-ray before they did the procedure, and they were gone. So that was very interesting. That for whatever reason they decided to have them removed. Now, you mentioned earlier, are these things extraterrestrial? Are they interdimensional? Are they time travelers? Is it our military? I think it's all the above, and probably whatever you can possibly think of. It's going to be interesting to see things like that in people. And Bud Hopkins has a number of pictures in some of the books that he's written where this object is in a person's nasal cavity, and just how do things get there? And what's their purpose? So yeah, we're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah. Has there been anyone who's kind of taken on Dr. Lear's work after he passed to kind of try and further understand this part of the phenomenon, or not really?
Yeah, well, I ran into a man at matter of fact, at the MUFON symposium 2 years ago in Las Vegas, and he basically had the capability of being able to look at someone's implant, understand where it is, and then basically neutralize it in some way, shape, or form. So he's involved with it. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head. And there's another person that actually had worked with Dr. Lear down in Southern California. And he shows up at various conferences and is able to find these things in people if they're I don't think he's a surgeon, though, so he doesn't remove them, but I believe he does know people that can perform that function. So there are two people that I know of right now.
Gotcha. Well, I'm wondering next, you mentioned that there seems to be, and people talk about it, of course, some kind of upgrade, some frequency upgrade. And this revelation, or this theory rather, that most people are going through this process. There's also been talk of an alien hybrid program that is going on kind of clandestinely, and alien DNA is being mixed with human DNA, and that's potentially one of the methods they're using to do this process. Can you speak on to that a little bit?
Absolutely. And again, it's a topic that's in my book, The Unknown Other and the Existential Proposition of Alien Contact. And there's a couple of theories about why this is going on. And there's a person on our board, Geraldine Orozco, who has been intimately involved in that process. She has supposedly 21 children. That was a combination of her DNA and alien DNA. And she's seen these children. And based on her feelings and the way the interaction goes with these children, she's a firm believer that they're definitely hers. And we feel that one of the theories is that there's something going on with their race, the alien race, and they need to do this to basically propagate themselves because they can't do it any other way. There's a book called Rachel's Eyes by Helen Luttrell, who just recently passed away as well. But it's a fascinating book about her daughter going to college. I think it was Humboldt College in Northern California, having a roommate that was a hybrid. And she was very different. She always wore a hat, glasses, looked very different. The military brought her special food. There's a program, a crash retrieval program that's going on, where they do take these aliens and they mess with them and they try to acclimatize them and also to maybe make them look more like us. So that's another aspect of it. And then the other thing is it's basically a way to take over. Eventually they'll perfect this process, and I think David Jacobs has already said that they have perfected it to the point where you can't tell a hybrid from you and I. That they look just like us, and you can't tell. And I've run into many people that claim that they're hybrids, and they look like you and I. There's no difference, but they feel that they're a result of genetic manipulation. And why they feel that way, and Gary Nolan, again from Stanford University, who was asked this question, so what do you think about that? And he says, well, the only problem with all of this is when a person says they're a hybrid, how can you tell? Because we don't have what he says anyway, that we don't have alien DNA to compare. We can't compare anything, so whatever they found in people, it looks pretty normal. Doesn't look like it's been manipulated because we don't have an example of what that alien DNA is all about. But there's so many people that are saying the same thing, that yes, this process is going on. It's happening. Children are being created, and they don't look that good. They don't. They look usually very sickly. And, what good is that? I don't know what the end game is on that. Unless they've been able to perfect it. And again, David Jacobs supposedly in one of his books talks about hybrids. He calls them hybrids because they look so much like you and I. But now it's again another conundrum. It's like don't know for sure.
Right. It would be like an ant colony trying to figure out why their colony shifts, or they have members of their colony go missing, or the queen goes away, and it's like, how could you possibly understand whatever these things are, higher dimensional beings, extraterrestrials that are millions of years more advanced than us, So it's there's so many possibilities, and it's I don't know if we'll ever ever get an answer unless they come right out and tell us and reveal themselves.
Yeah, well, many of these women that have had these experiences, they have missing fetuses. They literally have a sonogram that's done, and they see the baby and everything looks good. And the next day, their stomach's flat. There's no other indication that anything went on except that the baby is not there anymore. And they have sonograms that show the baby, and the next day, and then the doctors say, well, you had a miscarriage. Well, there was no blood. There was nothing. Or the body absorbed it. That fast? Within 24 hours? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So there's something going on, folks.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be. Yeah, it's the more that time passes, it seems like it's an inevitability that it'll be known to most people. Whether or not they accept it is another question.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, I think we've covered pretty much all the questions I had, unless there's anything else you'd like to add today.
Well, I think I was going to finish some of the attributes where people might be thinking that something is going on. Where people talk about paralysis or recurring headaches and eye and vision issues.
Oh yes.
Of course, if you're moving through windows or solid matter, that's definitely an indicator. Maybe dreams of lying on an examining table or being probed. Mentioned missing fetuses, out-of-body experiences, poltergeist activity, orbs, telepathy, psychic abilities, metallic taste in the mouth, feeling of heat or sometimes sunburn. And of course, you have the psychological effects of anxiety, fear of specific locations all of a sudden, flashbacks, sleep disturbances, phobias are very common, depression, confusion, PTSD, inappropriate reactions like what individuals experienced when I mentioned already earlier, Whitley Strieber's book Communion, when they saw that picture on there of the gray, and it was like, they brought it all back, that kind of thing. But yeah, I think that the bottom line on all of this, Jeffrey, is the fact that we're here to help people. We're totally neutral. We give them three things that we can help them with. One is the online support group, which I believe is probably one of the biggest helps for these people. A referral network of mental health practitioners and hypnotherapists, and then the triage group, the EST, the Experiencer Support Team. That is very knowledgeable, and basically when a person comes to us, they contact them and try to understand what it is that they're looking for, or what kind of help that they're looking for. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Also, as I mentioned earlier, we're always looking for more licensed therapists and certified hypnotherapists. And again, the book, The Unknown Other and the Existential Proposition of Alien Contact, is on Amazon, and all the proceeds of that book go directly to Opus. I don't get anything for it. So that's my contribution to the cause.
Right. Yes. And it's a great organization to have out there for people who are looking for support and don't know where to go and how to deal with these things that are difficult to understand, why they're happening to you, and what the end game is here. So, to add on to that, these people are dealing with a phenomena that is really abnormal, and oftentimes they can't talk to family members, they can't talk to coworkers, they can't talk to clergy, and so it puts them in a really isolated situation, which is terrible. I mean, if you can't talk to anybody about this, it just starts going around in your head, like this worm, and it drives you crazy. It absolutely does. So it's important to be able to talk about these things, and that's what we're here for. Great. Well, this has been a very fascinating and eye-opening discussion, Les. For those of my listeners who aren't watching on YouTube and can see your backdrop, can you tell my listeners where the best place to find you online is?
Sure. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. All you have to do is go to opusnetwork.org. Opus, OPUS network. That's all one word. .org, and you can see what we're all about there. We have a lot of resources on there. We have articles, documents that you can read. We have interviews that I've done, actually, with various people. Probably one of the biggest ones that I did was with John Ramirez, a retired CIA officer. And he had some interesting revelations as far as timing of another whistleblower coming out, which is, again, another thing that's going to be happening relatively soon. So, and he supposedly has 4 stars on his shoulder. So it's like big time news.
Yeah. Lots of real interesting things are coming down the pipeline for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming on, Les, and we'll have you back on again at some point for an update on what's going on out here. Thank you. Thanks again to Les for coming on the show. He's truly doing some important work out there with Opus and providing a network of support for people out there who are genuinely going through these types of experiences. They can be frightening, traumatic, and, I suppose we'll see what comes of all of this and what kind of grand plan, if any, that these other beings out there might have for humanity. As always, I want to give a huge thank you to everyone out there who checks out my show, downloads it, listens to it, shares it with friends and family. It helps me out so much when you do that. The Strangeology Podcast wouldn't be possible without the support of listeners like you. To any advertisers or companies out there looking to collaborate with the Strangeology Podcast or would like to be considered for an interview on the show, please send all business inquiries to info@strangeology.com. And if you're looking for a way to support the show and what I'm doing here, please go check out my Patreon. You're able to join for as little as $1 a month, which is way less than the cost of a cup of coffee. I've also got a number of tiers with increasing benefits like shout-outs, early access to episodes, along with access to ad-free episodes, and access to the Strangeology Beyond episode extension, which many times is a whole other episode and topic in and of itself exclusive to members. There are also merch discounts to my Etsy shop, exclusive merch like special enamel pins or varsity style bomber jacket with an embroidered Strangeology logo, and I add exclusive merch periodically, so it's not just a static thing. There's also voting power for topics that I can cover, and there's even a t-shirt of the month club for my home state cryptid collection of shirts. It's a great time, and to all the members out there, I want to give a big shout out to all of you. You're all amazing, and your continued support helps keep the lights on here at Strangeology HQ. So thank you all so much. And again, if you want to join this ever-growing community of fellow lovers of the Fortean, the strange and unexplained, check it out at patreon.com/Strangeology. And if you're looking for another way to support the show, you can check out my Etsy shop, which is at strangeology.etsy.com. I have a whole assortment of cryptid, alien, and Fortean gear available on apparel like t-shirts, hoodies, tank tops, sweatshirts, long sleeves. Cold weather is coming, so you definitely need to rock some sweaters and hoodies for sure. I have my ugly Christmas cryptid collection of sweatshirts back in the shop. I have a brand new design for Dogman that says Happy Howlidays. There's also stickers, magnets, prints, mugs, enamel pins, and more. And I'm always trying to add new designs and looking at different merch items to add those designs to. I've got big plans to get patches in the shop for some existing designs and new designs. I've had a lot of people asking about patches, so that's definitely coming. Can't guarantee that'll be available before the end of the year because the holiday season goes a little nuts, but stay tuned, it's coming. Again, that's strangeology.etsy.com. All right, I think that's all from me for now. I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, Les was able to hang out for a little while longer to chat more about alien abduction experiences and the work he's doing with Opus. So you won't want to miss it. Patrons, stick with me, and for everyone else, until the next time, take care of yourselves and each other, and keep it strange. All right, welcome back, members, to Strangeology Beyond, your exclusive portion of the show. Les, thank you again.